Some guitars are just destined to be in the hands they come to. This is one of those guitars. This is a 1963 Gibson Dove, and it is a survivor. It has had the bridge reattached once, but other than that, it is exactly as it was built in 1963 by Gibson. This one belonged to my dad, and honestly, he took really good care of it. It never really went to open mic nights or anything like that, but it did do a lot of other things. So it survived unscathed and even stayed behind in the United States when he went to Vietnam. So it holds a special place in my heart because of where it came from and where it's been. Now, my dad in 1986 decided to buy a guitar for me. He really bought it for himself, but to get my mom to allow him to buy it, he had to say it was for me. Turns out it was for me after all. But this is a Fender New Porter from 1986. These guitars were unspecial in every regard. Laminate mahogany body, top, back, and sides. Basic guitar construction, nothing special. They were built in, I believe, Indonesia or some Pacific Rim factory. Fender outsourced a lot of stuff during that era. But this particular one has had a bone nut saddle, and then a bone saddle, and then ebony bridge pins put into it to make it a much better guitar and significantly more stable than it was when it was built in '86. Originally purchased to be my guitar. Dad really wanted it for himself. He didn't wind up with it. It's okay. He got over it. My dad was eclectic, but he was Gibson eclectic. So for the 30th anniversary, or the 30th birthday, I suppose, of his 63 Dove, he had a Dove 12 string commissioned by the custom shop. And thus, this guitar was born. A one-of-a-kind 12-string Dove in Heritage Cherry Sunburst. This guitar was built by one of the icons of the acoustic custom shop, which was Ren Ferguson. And to this day, it has all the right sounds and plays just like it did when it was brand new. So, if you've ever wondered if there was a 12-string Dove made actually by Gibson, here's one. In 1998, I went into Straight Music in Austin, Texas to buy a Martin. And I came out with this guitar, which for $1,600 was the better sounding guitar. This particular one is a Taylor 810 WMB. They were a run of like 250, 249, something like that. Acoustic guitars that were built by what is essentially the Taylor Custom Shop before it was actually the Taylor Custom Shop. It was a special run of guitars. This one has no pick guard and is unique in that regard. There were several of them that were built that way. Of the 250-ish that were made, they all had different appointments in WMB settings. So some had pickguards, some didn't. Some, I thought somebody said some of them had cutaways, but maybe that's not right. Some of them had electronics, most of them didn't. But no matter how you look at it, this one still plays and sounds better than any Martin I've ever picked up. Coming up on 30 years old. Well, let's see, 25 years old. It's doing justice. This was a 97 model, so. This is the Gibson G45, and this is the first generation, not the modern one with the ebony fingerboard. This one is a walnut back and side, Sitka spruce top, and like a eucalyptus or something on the fretboard. So maybe this one is a studio, because the studio is the walnut fretboard. But either way, no matter how you look at it, this guitar looks and sounds like a Gibson and plays just like what you think a Gibson should play like. If there was ever going to be a substitute for the J45, the first generation G45 is that guitar. Some people think that the Hummingbird is the Dove's little brother, when in reality, the Hummingbird came first. But this one did not come first. This is a modern day model with Fishman. No, this is LR Baggs electronics on it. But this one is in a vintage sunburst color. And this one actually is a prototype for a limited run that was put out by Gibson at some point. It is actually stamped as a prototype. So it is unique in that regard. Possibly valuable, possibly just another Gibson. The AD27 is a newer Taylor guitar, and this one has all the right looks and all the right sounds. Mahogany top, and I believe sapele back and sides. So it does all the right things. So Taylor GS MiniE Koa, or Koa E, something like that. This little guitar is a 3/4 size, and it just does everything. They're good little guitars. This particular one is a Koa model, so it has a little better sound, I think. It, of course, will break in and have better sound later on, because that's just how Koa is. No matter how you look at it, it's a great little guitar to have. This particular one is my daughter's, but since she doesn't quite play it yet, I'm counting it as one of the collection. Now this is the AD17 Blacktop, and it is, I can't remember what the top is, but the back and sides are Ovencall. I believe it's a spruce top with Ovencall back and sides. And it is notable in the series, or in the collection, because of its very cool black front. Now, this one has no cool story to it. It was just an impulse buy, and well, it looked good. So this is the Epiphone / J45 in Vermilion Burst. And it's just a great guitar. Probably the single best Epiphone I've ever put my hands on. Definitely beautiful. Definitely a winner. The pickup and everything on it is exactly what I think it needs to be to make the sound right. So I got nothing but love for this guy. Definitely the best Epiphone acoustic that I've picked up at any point.